If you're a fan of the NBA, these last 24 hours have been just absolute craziness. The Howard University Bison were picked to finish 8 out of 9 teams in the MEAC this season. Well, Lori, it looks like the only person that can stop Kevin Durant's scoring streak of 30-point games is Oklahoma City Thunder head coach Scott Brooks. Welcome back to the Baseball Show. I'm Brian Jackson. Long before the steroid era, the biggest knock on baseball was the game's slow pace. And UVA is off this week, and they really struggled last week against Oregon, as expected. You're probably wondering why I'm standing here with a pack of diapers, and, well, I promise you it's for a good reason. With the Tigers coming into town, everybody was excited for what was supposed to be a World Series preview, but obviously nobody checked that out with Mother Nature. Offensively, you all like to pass the ball a lot now. Yeah. The conditions out here are starting to get pretty bad. How is that going to affect you all offensively?
We'll stick with our plan, Brian.
Your team created a lot of turnovers there in the first half. Do you think that really opened up the floodgates offensively for you all?
Well, we like to play pressure defense, and we like to run.
Kyle Juszczyk was a 2-time All-American tight end and H-back at Harvard, where he caught 125 passes for 22 touchdowns. But the Ravens drafted him to be more of a traditional fullback, and it's a label he's not willing to accept just yet.
It doesn't bother me because I guess I just recently have been labeled a fullback, so it hasn't hit me too hard yet. And but I'm not really that traditional fullback, so I don't take it personally.
That role of traditional fullback has belonged to Vontae Leach the past 2 seasons. The All-Pro has paved the way for back-to-back Pro Bowl years for Ray Rice, but Leach also has a $3 million base salary for this upcoming season, and if the Ravens can't find a way to restructure his deal, there may not be room for both Leach and Juszczyk.
I think that's what professional football is. You're always competing for a job. But who knows? I feel like we're 2 different players, so there might be 2 different roles for us there.
Ravens president Ozzie Newsome has always stressed competition, and as he told me, right now we don't have to make any decisions at all. When it comes down to it, we're going to make a decision based on what happens on the football field. With the Ravens, Brian Jackson for CSNBaltimore.com. In his first game since being named an All-Star, John Wall got off to a slow start as he missed his first 7 shots. But in the second half, he really turned it on as he finished with 17 points, 15 assists, and 6 steals as the Wizards snapped the Thunder's 10-game winning streak.
Got to have amnesia in this league if you're going to be good. If you're going to be good, you can't let bad plays, bad shooting, bad 3/4 bother you.
Just make shots. I miss easy shots, I feel like. And at halftime, my coach and my teammates told me just keep taking the shots I was getting, and they started falling. But we did a great job of just moving the ball and making it tough for them on the defense end.
In front of a sellout crowd of 20,356, Suitland, Maryland native Kevin Durant had a rough shooting night, going just 8 of 21 from the field. And while he did end up with 26 points, he knows that defenses are making him work for each and every basket.
I'm seeing crazy defenses every night. Whether teams are face guarding or they're doubling, and they're rotating so far over from one of our guys. And so I'm trying to watch film and see, because I never know what team's going to throw at us.
Just stay in his grill, man. Just try to make him take tough shots. Try not to give him no easy looks, and that's about it.
He's our best defender. We always put him on top guy on the other team. So he always accepts that challenge, and he accepted it today. And he held him under 30.
Another bit of good news for the Wizards. Doctors have cleared Bradley Beal to exceed his minutes limit of 30. Tonight in 34 minutes, he missed 9 of 12 shots, and Wizards are going to need a better outing out of him on Monday night if they plan to finally get over that 500 mark when they face the Portland Trail Blazers right here at the Verizon Center. With the Wizards, I'm Brian Jackson for CSNWashington.com. Welcome back to the Baseball Show. I'm Brian Jackson. The Braves and Nats, like most divisional rivals, they just flat out don't like each other. But on Tuesday, that animosity spilled over from the diamond to Twitterverse. Last season, the Washington Wizards finished with a record of 29-53 and were slotted to pick 8 in the NBA draft. But on draft lottery night, they got a bit lucky and jumped up 5 spots and will now pick at number 3. I'm Brian Jackson, joined by our Wizards analysts Jay Michael and Ben Standig. And Jay, the first question that the Wizards really has to be on their mind is, should they be drafting for need or for the best player available?
You got to take the best player available.
Hey there, Brian Jackson with your Geico Sportsnet Central update. After a slow start, the Steelers are back in the playoff hunt, and Ben Roethlisberger is finally starting to look like himself again. Just last week, he was named the AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Steelers and Browns both tied at 4-6 in their division and the AFC wildcard standings. We start in the second quarter. Big Ben looking deep. He finds Antonio Brown, who beats the Browns' Joe Hayden on the play, and that's not something you see all that often. Steelers take a 10-7 lead early on. Second half, Ben Roethlisberger connects with Emmanuel Sanders on the slant. That puts the Steelers up by a score of 20-3. Now, after Jason Campbell left with an injury, the Browns called upon Brandon Whedon, but he's picked off by William Gay, who takes it 21 yards to the house for the pick six, and that's going to seal it. Also makes for a happy Mike Tomlin on the sidelines as the Steelers win their third straight by a final score of 27-11. Quick snapshot of the AFC North standings. The Bengals still standing alone at the top of the division. Steelers and Ravens are both tied at 5-6. That's going to make for a great Thanksgiving night game between the bitter rivals, and the Browns are rounding out the bottom at 4-7. Earlier this week, Maryland head football coach Randy Edsall told his team that their 6 wins makes them bowl eligible, not bowl guaranteed. And getting a 7th win against Boston College would be huge, but it didn't happen, and it was an ending that none of us saw coming. Up 24-13 in the second half, Maryland's lead wouldn't last as BC's Andre Williams shows why he's the nation's leading rusher as he goes 72 yards in a cloud of dust to the house, and the Eagles were right back in it. Then with the game tied, Nate Freese has a chance to win it from 52 yards out, which would tie his career high. Now, the snap is good, the placement is fine, but he pulls it to the left and we're headed to overtime. But wait, not so fast, because Randy Edsall called timeout just before the kick, and in this case, the Freeze or Mr. Freeze only left the Terps cold and lifeless. Now the second try is good, and heartbreak sets in for the Terps in their final home ACC game. And UVA is off this week, and they really struggled last week against Oregon, as expected. But, JP, at this point of the season, what's the bigger concern, their offense or their defense?
You know, it's pretty tough to say that the defense is the lesser concern, considering they just gave up 59 points to Oregon.
Now, earlier this week, you all spent your time at the White House, and you got a chance to meet President Obama. Were you reluctant at all to hand over your number 10 jersey to the president?
If only that was really the number 10 jersey.
Brian Jackson, there are more than just a lot of fans watching Jonathan Grimes play here today in Richmond.
That's right, Bob. Earlier, before today's game, I caught up with an NFL scout that was here, and he said that it's clear that Grimes is above and beyond one of the best NFL prospects for the CAA this season. And obviously, Grimes doesn't have the size for most prototypical running backs, but as the scout told me, you can't really argue with his production. How do you feel you guys are gelling there through the first 45 minutes?
I think we're doing all right defensively. I mean, they're a counterattacking team.
Coach, when we talked before the game, you said that you really only wanted to pass the ball 15 or 16 times, and you've already exceeded that number. So how would you assess the play of your quarterback so far?
You know, we haven't had any rhythm in the running game, so, you know, his passes have been high.
Coach Sally said he really only wanted to pass the ball about 15 or 16 times coming into this game, but you all ended up passing the ball over 20 times. So what does that say about the confidence he has in you?
I definitely think he has a lot of confidence in me.
In the first half there, you all trailed by as many as 9, but you really mixed in the zone defense there in the second half. Do you think that turned the momentum in you all's favor?
Definitely. I think Coach did a great job of making us make changes.
Brian Jackson was trying to listen in to what Trudy Lacey had to say. What do you got, Brian?
Right. What you can look for here coming out of this timeout is they're going to drop a horn set to try to get the ball to Crystal Langhorne. And if she's not open off that horn set, she's going to go with a dribble handoff with Mo Curry. So look for that coming out of this timeout. Back to you, Frank.
Inside access right there. Thank you, Brian. All right, 16 to shoot for the Mystic.
That's exactly what Brian Jackson said they were going to run. They had the horn set. Langhorne didn't have it, handed it off to Curry.